Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're going to be talking about a very unfortunate situation, but it's one that happens in pretty much everyday life nonetheless, and that is death, specifically the passing of Comicstorian, a very famous YouTuber who I've been subscribed to for literal years, bro. And that's really crazy to say, at least for me, because I've known about him for a while. He's inspired me to make videos of my own, especially like in the past too. And these are videos that you guys will never see because I didn't even know how to post on YouTube back then, but it was him, Variant Comics, and those old stop motion animation toy channels that you used to post. That got me into posting content, at least for the first time, and I will never forget those guys and what they've done for me, especially what I've learned from Comicstorian in specific. But unfortunately, he's no longer here on this earth. I found out yesterday via a friend that sent it in the group chat. I saw the same tweet later on that day. So if you didn't see the statement made by his spouse, here it is right now. 2 days ago on June 8th, my husband Ben Potter passed away in an unfortunate accident. To many of you, he was Comicstorian, voicing stories from across multiple different mediums. To his loved ones, he was one of the best and most supportive individuals anyone could ask for. As a husband, a son, a brother, a friend, or even just a stranger, Ben was loving and genuine. He was someone who would listen and make time for his loved ones. He would do his best to make everyone laugh and make sure they were okay. He was our rock, and he'd reassure his loved ones whenever they needed it. He was my world, and while he is gone, I don't want the good things he's done to be for nothing. Across his family and team, we ask for your respect to our privacy as we grieve his loss, as well as patience for the future. His channel was one of his greatest accomplishments, and while we need our time to mourn him, I know he wouldn't want it to end like this. Ben spent over 10 years spreading his love and appreciation for his hobbies. It was through his love and exciting stories and well-written characters that got him started on YouTube. We wanted to keep that going, to honor him by continuing to tell great stories by great people, as well as to keep the memory of our very own superhero alive. I know he meant a lot to many of you, but I don't know if you'll ever know just how much you all meant to him. So like I said before, man, it's just a super unfortunate situation. I was shocked when I heard the news, and of course, like any other video that we cover here on the channel that's similar to this, we don't monetize it, because honestly that's the least that could be done in a situation like this. However, before I close this quick video, I do want to touch on how I even found Comicstorian in the first place and what he's actually done for me and helped me learn through his content creation. So at one time a while ago, I used to be super into comic books. I used to know all the heroes, both Marvel and DC. I would keep up with different issues. I would beg my mom to go buy me some comic books or go to Five Below and get those little cheap comic books that you get in a packet. I still have those comic books, by the way, but it was always just comic books and Transformers and superheroes, right? It's little kid stuff, or well, stuff that a kid would be into, I guess. And I'm not saying that superheroes are for kids, but because they're not, but you get what I'm saying. I would have those interests growing up, and when I was old enough to have a phone and discover like YouTube and stuff, Comicstorian and Variant Comics were some of the first that I even found, and that was basically due to my search of comic books. But the first video that really got me watching Comicstorian was his coverage of year 1 of Injustice. You see, at this time, Injustice the video game was out, and I didn't even know that it was a comic series until Comicstorian introduced me to it. I'm pretty sure the game is based off the comics if I'm not mistaken, but man, that multiple hour long video of him going over year 1 and then the other one going over year 2, and I think year 5 is also out too. Man, look, the way he would read over those issues panel by panel, bro, it's just the amount of feeling that he had that goes behind his voice. It really inspired me to go ahead and make content myself. Like I said before, Variant Comics is also another person that I watched that also helped me get into it too, and that's more of like the commentary side, by the way. Aris Quinones is really good at that. Man, I remember watching one of his videos and then asking my mom to help me record one of my very first videos and I would try my best to do his voice in my little kid voice, and I would try to sound all professional and stuff, and knowing this video really wouldn't go on YouTube because I didn't know how to post back then. It was probably harder back then to post, honestly, or at least it was for somebody who didn't have a Gmail account. But even as recent as a couple of years ago, I remember doing a read over for a manga that came out, and I remember going back to Comicstorian and hearing that passion in his voice, how he would describe certain things like an explosion going off and how the music would change in the background, and he taught me like to hyper analyze the video so I could replicate that essentially in my own video. Now that stuff doesn't really happen too often here on this channel because I mean it's not really like the same stuff, but hey, if I ever get the feeling to read over a manga panel or a comic book, you best believe Comicstorian is going to be in my mind the entire time. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and let that information fly. Comicstorian, man, you will be missed. You are my goat, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.